Welcome to Linguistics Tube. This episode is part of my series which explores the skills involved in debating. Through these episodes, you will learn and practice several essential techniques that will allow you to perform debates successfully and easily. In this episode, we will learn about the process of supporting your team's team line with high-quality, objective, valid arguments. Remember that your arguments are the reason why you have your viewpoint. And in a debate, you state your viewpoint in the team line. This episode is rather short because I have already explained the most important information about using arguments to support a viewpoint in the episode about the body section of a public speech. So, please watch that episode first to learn the basic information. In this episode, I will add some additional details. As I explained in my Introduction to Debating video, which you should definitely watch first if you haven't already, all speakers must do 3 things throughout the debate in order to win. Firstly, each speaker must support his or her team's team line. Secondly, he or she must refute or rebut the other team's team line. And finally, he or she must defend his or her team's team line from the other team's rebuttals. Regarding the second and third things you must do, you can find another episode in this series about creating strong rebuttals. In order to do the first thing that you must do in a debate, which is supporting the team line, all speakers must firstly present arguments, and secondly, support those arguments with evidence. Needless to say, all arguments and evidence must be as high quality, objective, strong, and convincing as possible in order to win the debate. That is the topic of this episode. As I said on the previous screen, I will not discuss how to support your team line in detail in this episode, because I have explored it in lots of detail in the episode about the body section of a public speech. You should definitely watch that video too to get the full picture about supporting a viewpoint with arguments and evidence. As I just said, it is essential that all your arguments and evidence are as high quality, objective, strong, and convincing as possible in order to win the debate. Another way to say this is that all your arguments must be valid. I also discussed validity in depth in the episode about the body section of a public speech. It is quite easy for arguments to become weak and unconvincing in a debate, as the speaker might be under pressure to respond to the other team or think of new arguments spontaneously. If an argument is weak, low quality, and unconvincing, then we can say it is invalid. How do we determine whether an argument is valid or invalid? Well, we can identify 3 features of a strong argument. Or in other words, a strong argument has the following 3 features. Firstly, the argument must logically support the team line. Again, you can find an explanation of what makes an argument logical in my episode about the body section of a public speech. Secondly, to be valid, the argument must be specific and it must state the reason as clearly as possible. Finally, in order to be valid, a majority of people must consider the argument to be convincing. Another way to say this is that the argument must be considered true beyond reasonable doubt. This is a term often used in criminal trials to decide whether or not someone is guilty of committing a crime. Similarly, in order to convince your audience that your team's team line is more valid than the other team's team line, all of your arguments will need to be convincing beyond reasonable doubt. Let's look at an example. Here are 4 arguments, or reasons to support the motion, smoking should be banned in public places. Therefore, these are the affirmative team's main arguments. Firstly, smoking should be banned in public places because it is bad. Secondly, smoking should be banned in public places because it gives people bad breath and makes their teeth yellow. Thirdly, smoking should be banned in public places because second-hand smoke is harmful for non-smokers. And finally, smoking should be banned in public places because second-hand smoke significantly increases non-smokers' risk of deadly diseases. I have a task for you. Please analyze these 4 arguments and decide whether they are valid and strong. Therefore, you need to decide whether they have all the 3 features of a strong, valid argument. If an argument doesn't follow all 3 features, then it should be deleted completely or improved to make it stronger. If you are my student, then we will discuss this example during our lesson. If not, then please write your answers in the comments below. There are many ways to write a valid argument. Remember that it is valid as long as it follows the 3 features. Nevertheless, there are 2 structures that I recommend for writing valid arguments. In other words, using these should guarantee that your argument is as strong as possible. The first structure is to compare A to B. This is expressed as A is adjective ER than B, or A is more adjective than B. For example, using the previous topic, a valid argument might be smoking is more harmful than alcohol, which is already banned in public places. Bear in mind that this is just the topic sentence of the argument. An argument actually consists of a topic sentence, evidential support, and a summary. The second structure that I recommend is to create an argument using cause and effect. There are 2 ways to say it. Either A causes B, or if you do A, then B will happen. Remember that these arguments are explaining why smoking should be banned in public. Here are 2 examples. Second-hand smoke causes a range of health problems for non-smokers. And if you smoke, then your social life will be negatively affected. Remember that while any structure is acceptable, as long as it follows the 3 features of a valid argument, using comparison and cause and effect should guarantee that your argument is as strong as possible. This is the end of the video about creating strong arguments to support your team line. If you liked what you heard, then you can find more videos in my debating skills series, as well as other series on the topics of English and linguistics. Thank you for watching.